In this episode, we're going to talk a little about how fines are created and how offenses actually bring the fine into play. It's a very fun episode. I think you're really going to enjoy it. Be blessed. How's an offense created? Oftentimes we wonder this in our lives, but let's make a practical example out of it. You're driving through a subdivision and it's marked 30 miles per hour. You're doing 40. Cop pulls you over, they're doing a sting, and then all of a sudden you realize, man, they got me. Well, what just happened there? They issue you a ticket and you know you're going to have to probably pay a fine. Now, how did the fine come into play? The fine came into play because an offense was created. You offended the government. Why is that? There's a law created that says you must go 30 miles an hour. You were doing 40. So right there you violated the law. And because of that, an officer who represents the law gives you a ticket. Now the only way that's going to clear you of this offense is to pay the fine. It's really that simple. No charges equals no offenses equals no fine. So there's no fine to be paid if there's no offense created. Now here's an example of not wanting to create an offense. Pretty cute, isn't he? But the bottom line is, there's no way that a fine would be necessary if there's no offense or violation. So what did we learn today? We learned that a fine is only needed where an offense has been created. So where does that leave us between us and God? Well, if you haven't sinned in your life, you wouldn't have need for a fine on your behalf to be paid. That's the whole point of it. When do you need the fine, man? When do you need it? You need it when you've offended. You need it when there's a charge or when you get that ticket, like the guy got for speeding 40 and a 30. That's how it is. But you got to know you've done wrong. So in order to know Jesus and to get back in unity with God, you must know that you've sinned. You must know that there's charges against you pending. It's very important, because if you don't know that, then you would think you have no need for a fine. But your conscience, it tells you whether or not you've done things you doubted you should have done in your life. If you've done it just one time, then you violated God's perfect righteousness. Well, what did God do? He sent Jesus as the fine to pay for everything you've done. So all you have to do is believe by faith that he became your fine. So he'll clear you and dismiss you of all charges. That's the importance of the gospel.